Following the First Corinthians, Second Corinthians, written by St. Paul, was likely written in late AD 55 or early AD 56, according to several extra biblical events that occurred. During the time before the writing of the Second Corinthians, the people of Corinth attacked the Apostle Paul in an attempt to sway people to turn from Paul and learn from a false gospel. We know this from the First Corinthians when the news of teachings from false apostles were spreading across Corinth. Paul took a break from his duties at the town of Ephesus and headed to Corinth. This event was known as the painful visit. The visit was an unsuccessful one since a likely false apostle insulted Paul with rude remarks in the open public. Paul left Corinth deeply saddened from the lack of loyalty shown by the people of Corinth. Paul headed back to Ephesus, and from there he wrote what is known as the Severe Letter. Paul was hopeful but anxious when he sent Titus to deliver the letter to Corinth. He believed with time that the Corinthians will come to their senses. To Paul's luck, Titus returned with the news of success. Most of the Corinthians ceased from the rebellion against Paul. However, Paul still believed the rebellion could still take place. So Paul proceeded to write his letter to the Corinthians, titled the Second Corinthians. This letter centered around Paul defending his apostleship, confronting the false apostles, and resume the Corinthians' helpful acts for the people of Jerusalem, for the poor people of Jerusalem. One of the recurring themes in 2 Corinthians is helping one another. According to chapter 9, verses 8 through 11, God is able to provide you with every blessing in abundance, so that by always having enough of everything, you may share abundantly in every good work. This passage is an example that us individuals should use the resources we are freely given to help the needy who don't have the opportunity to obtain these same resources. Sharing is a vital part to being a good, healthy Christian. Also, chapter 8, verses 13 through 15 says, I do not mean that there should be relief for others and pressure on you, but it is a question of a fair balance between your present abundance and their need, so that their abundance may be for your need. This is once again another example of why good Catholics need to share what they have with the less fortunate. A person who is wealthy must share with someone who relies on a few dollars a day for food so he can reach a balance with God. The last chapter of the 2 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 8, talks about the peace the brothers and sisters of the Catholic faith must share and the guidelines one must follow to keep the peace. The theme of sharing from the 2 Corinthians is practiced today in the life of the church. Donations are asked and given frequently so the church can offer food, shelter, clothes, and a new life for the people in poverty.